The Drive to Survive program's ambassador is the V8 supercar driver Warren Luff. I'd like to welcome him to the stage to talk about how motor racing and road safety are being linked with the program's many life-saving measures. Would you please make him welcome, Warren Luff. Welcome. It's been a busy time for you, hasn't it? Because you've been at Mount Panorama Bathurst and very recently racing for the Dick Johnson racing team alongside James Courtney, who is leading this championship. The points are pretty close going into those final rounds. So you've played quite an active role in helping him to the position he's currently in.
Yeah, look, the last three races have been a bit of an up and down for the team, obviously with James leading the championship. Priority one for us was to obviously try and extend that championship lead and obviously try and get a good result. We had some mixed success. We had at the Gold Coast event a few weeks ago, we believe we got robbed of a certain victory on the Saturday race. We had a slight sort of altercation with the officials and 10 laps to go. James was leading, pulling away from the field, and we had to serve a drive-through penalty. So that was a very bitter pill to swallow, but that's just part of the game of racing. But it was obviously great to be there with James and to be able to help him with his championship, and hopefully he can go on to secure it.
You're the ambassador, the face in some respects of the Drive to Survive program, and you've played a hands-on role in conducting some of the programs. Just tell us a bit about the experience. This is wonderful what we're seeing here in terms of the way everyone has absorbed, I think, the key messages you're trying to get across here already this evening.
Yeah, look, it's obviously been my privilege to be involved, and obviously I was there for quite a few of the programs, and just to see how obviously the program can really impact on people's attitude towards driving, and get them to realise sort of that there is a very serious side to driving. It's obviously all very well and good to have some fun, but obviously fun can turn to carnage very quickly, and that's why obviously through with what I do with racing, I promote that obviously the safest place for speed is out there on the racetrack, and obviously with the course being conducted at Sydney Dragway, we also talk about the importance of sort of that speed doesn't belong on the road, it belongs on the racetrack, or in the case of the Sydney Dragway, it's the Wednesday night off-street drag meets. It's a chance where people can come out, they can race their mate, they can do all the talking that they want, but they can actually come out and put their mouth to good use and see if they can actually sort of back it up with having a run down the strip. It's done in a legal and obviously a safe environment, and it's trying to sort of educate people that there is a safe and there is a legal place to be able to do these things.
My old man always used to say the road is not a racetrack, and that's a very, very simple message. Now, what's the response been like? I was intrigued when we watched the presentation at the very beginning, when the students got off the bus and they were confronted with that smashed vehicle and the tragic reality that was a loss of life.
Yeah, look, it's one of the hardest things is obviously with young drivers is trying to sort of convey that message that that you're not 10 foot tall and bulletproof, that Superman does only exist in sort of sci-fi land. But look, obviously that we start the program with walking them around that vehicle in there. It's a graphic reminder of what can happen when things go wrong out there on the road. And as I said before, it's all very well and good to have fun, but fun can turn to carnage very quickly. And we start the program with looking at sort of the downside of what can happen out there on the roads. And there's so many people that are getting it wrong out there on our roads. Like when I look back over sort of my teenage years and my sort of early sort of 20s, there's 3 people I went to school with that aren't here anymore because they're victims of road carnage, and they didn't go out with the intensive purpose to have an accident or to sort of to end their life. It was three great people, and their lives were tragically cut short. So the messages of this program are really to try and sort of change people's attitude, change their awareness towards driving. As Tony Atkins touched on earlier, if we can just save one life, then the program has done its job.
The tragedy of the loss of your friends is a shock message that hits home pretty hard. But at the same time, you have a lot of measures that are all about fun in reinforcing some of the program's key initiatives, don't you?
Look, absolutely. The best way to sort of to get the effective message across is to have some fun, and that's what really the program has all been about. You can see in the presentations we've had already the way that they've been able to sort of convey the messages and the fun that they had at the program. We have the little fun carts there you saw on the screen before, just to be able to sort of to show the difference between what effect that alcohol can also have on you as a driver. When we do the runs early on, they obviously do it completely sober, and then just with the addition of the drunk goggles, obviously everyone here got to experience, and they got to sort of see firsthand what it's like to be affected by alcohol. Now it's all very well and good that there are only little fun carts there because we had lots of crashes, lots of carnage, and the success rate certainly wasn't very good. And it's an effective way to get the message across about also drink driving.
I think there is a bit of a default at times at a government level that when things are bad, what we do is we reduce the speed limit. That's one of the things that I think it's a bit of a lowest common denominator approach. There is more to it, in my opinion, than that. I mean, the government tells us that speed kills. It's part of their advertising message. You know, speed kills. How fast are you going now? Is that, in your opinion, on its own, sending the right message?
No, I don't think it is. It's as we've really tried to push. It's all about inappropriate speed, and inappropriate speed is the thing that obviously kills. As I've sort of spoken to a lot of these students about, it's why do they, at certain times of the day, why do they lower the speed limit around school areas? Because 60 kilometres an hour is no longer the appropriate speed. So the really important message is that it's inappropriate speed that can kill on our roads. You can still be doing 60 kilometres an hour, and just because it says that you can legally still do 60, it doesn't mean that it's the appropriate speed to be doing, whether it be through weather, whether it be through traffic conditions or whatever. As a driver, you have to constantly reassess what it is that you do. It's no different to what we do on the racetrack. Obviously, things are happening a lot faster, but you're continually trying to reassess what's going on and trying to make the smart decisions so that you obviously don't make mistakes out there.
Good that you brought the conversation back to the point of motor racing. Bathurst very recently has to be a good example of that. 1 minute a public road with strict speed limits, and the next it's open slather for you guys, but in very safe, controlled circumstances.
Well, exactly, and that's why obviously that we're saying the safest place to do your speeding is on a racetrack or say at the drag strip. As you said, Bathurst is an interesting example. Sunday we're flogging around, sort of nearly touching on 300 kilometres an hour down Conrod Straight, and then about half an hour after the race, the speed signs go back up and it becomes a public road, and it's a 60 kilometre an hour speed limit with two-way traffic. So the only reason why that obviously we can do those speeds on the Sunday race is because everyone's going in the same direction. We've got the appropriate safety equipment. There's all the things in place so that if something does go wrong, that there's a lot of safety sort of built around it, and obviously that's why, as I said, I do my speeding on the racetrack.
All right, final one before you go. Getting a full-time drive in V8 supercar is an enormously difficult thing to do. You know what it's like to try and break into that. You've won a number of championships to, earn that cred, those credentials. You've competed very recently as an enduro driver with Dick Johnson Racing, a famous outfit. But the great news in this past week is that you're back in the main game in a full-time ride, and it pretty much starts next weekend, doesn't it? A week and a half away.
Yeah, look, I've been very lucky. I've been signed by Lucas Dumbrell Motorsport. I'm actually switching brands. I've gone from being a Ford driver for the last 8 years. I'm going to Holden. So sorry for the Ford fans out there. But look, it's a fantastic opportunity. It's something that, as you know, I've been working towards for quite some time to get back into a full-time drive, and the chance to do the last 3 rounds of the championship this year really sort of gets us in good step for next year. Next year we kick off in February in Abu Dhabi, where our first race we fly away to Abu Dhabi over there and come back, and then we go Clipsal and Grand Prix. So it's an exciting time ahead for me. It's something, as I said, I've worked very hard towards, and certainly after the Enduro campaign with James, it's nice to be rewarded, and obviously I want to try and reward the team with, they've put some great faith in me, so now it's time to sort of pay them back and give them some great success on the track.
All right, you've taught the students here a number of fantastic messages. What if they're inspired by you, by a James Courtney, by a Craig Lowndes, by a Jamie Whincup to go and do what you want to do? The best place they can possibly go is the dragway and that safe and very controlled environment.
Exactly. The dragway gives a fantastic outlet to be able to get that speed fix out. As I said before, it's the Wednesday night, it's the turn up with your mates. As long as you've got a registered vehicle, you've got a driver's license, you can, as I said, put your money where your mouth is. You can actually sort of come out there, you can run with your mates down the drag strip. Again, it's a safe and legal environment. It's an opportunity to legally extend the performance of your vehicle in a safe environment, and that's what we've always sort of maintained right throughout this program, is speed belongs on the racetrack, not on the public roads.
Congratulations on everything you're doing with this initiative. Good luck with your motor racing. Warren Luff, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, buddy. Good on you.